Helo, siwmai, a bore da, a chroeso I Copa Cyfryngau Cymru 2025. Good morning and welcome to the Wales Screen Summit 2025. After a year off, we are back. We're bolder and bigger than ever before. My name is Steffan, fy enw yw Steffan Powell. Mae'n hyfryd I weld sydd gymaint o chi yma heddi. It's lovely to see so many of you here today and hopefully lots of you here tomorrow as well. We've got loads of cool stuff coming up for you. Now, if you don't know, the reason this summit was first created was to shine a spotlight, not just on the creative industries here in Wales, but also across the different nations and regions of Britain. And today there's never been a greater need for an opportunity like this, is there, to come together and to talk, not just about our successes, but also about the lessons we've learnt, the challenges that we now face as a sector, and then how we can address them collectively. Because let's be honest, it's been quite the ride, shall we say, for TV and film producers and broadcasters over the last few years. But the calibre of work, the creativity coming out of the UK's nations and regions, in spite of all of that, has been top draw. But as YouTube dominates viewership, doesn't it, and AI challenges, but also offers us opportunities, the efforts in reducing carbon footprint, all of this means it's never been more important to stop, to think, and to consider how can we adapt as the tectonic plates of the industry shift around us. What can we do to positively embrace the uncertainty that lies ahead? So that's the plan over the next couple of days to tackle all that. Easy enough. We'll start today with a clear-eyed look at the current state of the screen industries. We'll spotlight those challenges and we'll look at the opportunities of now as well. We'll hear from the genre heads in unscripted and scripted. We'll celebrate Welsh production successes and also provide some important resources for support as well. And then on day 2, we'll dive into the future of the screen industries in an AI-powered, digitally transformed world, whatever that sentence actually means. So I'm not still 100% sure. We'll start with a fascinating conversation with the boss of Arcade Media. He's the manager of the Sidemen, Jordan Schwarzenberger. He's going to be with us tomorrow. We're also going to be delving into the technical and digital innovations that we face, how we distribute differently, how we engage with our audiences differently. And also the Director General is popping in for a chat. So plenty of things to look forward to. Now, just so you know how the choreography, it's a tricky word, that one, it was working in the next couple of days. Upstairs in the Telegraph room, there's going to be round table sessions with commissioners, distributors, Channel 4 finance experts, loads of brilliant people. I'll be flagging throughout the day when there are availabilities to go and join those sessions throughout the day. But before we start, I'd like to hand over to the Summit founder, to EMYR AFAN, OBE, to share a few words of welcome. Dyma ti, EMYR. Diolch.
Bore da, Simai. Just eisiau gweud gair o ddiolch. I just wanted to say thank you for coming and supporting. We asked ourselves the question 4 years ago, if Cardiff is the third largest media powerhouse in Britain after London and Manchester, why haven't we got our own conference, our own summit? And we started, well, at that time, the Wales Screen Summit took a year out last year, but this year we felt particularly we needed to do something. Oedd rhaid I ni wneud rhywbeth, mae'r sgwrs yn un fawr. The conversation needs to be between us. We need to work together more. And we're really grateful to you for supporting, buying your tickets, showing up, so that we can work together more. Our sponsors in particular, it's easy to take these things for granted, but we're incredibly grateful for your support and continuing support year in, year out, as we look to the future. We're at a time where we have to pivot. You know this. I really think that the work that Holly Abbott has put into the producing of the summit gives you that roadmap. It's up to us all how we go along that roadmap, but it's at least there, and at least we can share experiences, knowledge together, because I'm convinced that we're going to have to work together more to get to that goal. The same is the challenge for broadcasters as well, right across the piece. It's not just independent freelancers, it's broadcasters also. And to kick us off, I'd like to give a very warm welcome to the Chief Executive of SOC, who is also pivoting his channel into a bright future Rwy'ch groeso mawr iawn I Esbrec ac I Prifeithredwr Esbrec, Geraint Evans. Diolch yn fawr.
Diolch, EMYR. I first worked with EMYR 35 years ago. And yes, I know you're probably thinking EMYR must have been a teenager at the time, and I was probably about 7.5. And I expected the introduction from EMYR saying how he was the one who gave me my first proper break in television. And I was offered the chance to be a reporter on a current affairs programme for young people. He was directing for HTV, for S4C, reporting from Belfast, from the Troubles, and from Berlin when the wall came down. And I quickly learned some TV essentials from EMYR, such as staying in the edit until at least 2 in the morning to finish your package, and pushing the production budget to the absolute limit so that we could have a steady cam for a young people's current affairs show for S4C 35 years ago, which was being used quite genuinely at the time, I think, for a production shoot for Duran Duran. So only the best for EMYR AFAN at that time. And it's good to see that EMYR's enthusiasm and drive continues with the organising of the Wales Screen Summit here in Cardiff. And diolch EMYR for the opportunity to address the summit today. Felly, bore da, mae'n bleser I fod yma bore yma ac I weld cynifer ohonoch chi sydd wedi dod yma I dreithi, I drafod ac I ddathlu creadigrwydd ein diwydiant ni. It's a real pleasure to see so many of you here this morning and to be among creators, commissioners and champions of storytelling in Wales. Cardiff has become a cauldron of creativity, a training ground for TV talent and a hub which has sparked some remarkable productions which have reflected and represented Wales here and beyond our borders. This summit is a celebration of the incredible work happening across our industry. But it's also a chance to reflect, to ask not just what we're doing now, but what comes next, what needs to change. So let me start with this. When people don't see themselves reflected on screen, they start to feel that they don't belong. And when only a few voices get heard, we lose something valuable, not just culturally, but democratically too. Because storytelling is power. It shapes how we see ourselves. It tells the world who gets a seat at the table, who belongs, who matters. From Wrexham to Caerfyrddin, from Bywtown to Bala, we all want drama, entertainment, news, documentaries and children's content that feels like us. Not borrowed, not imitated, authentic. And that doesn't happen by accident. Mae S4C wastad wedi bod yn fwy na sianel deledu. S4C has always been more than a TV channel. It was created not just to entertain, but so that the Welsh language, ein hiaith ni, becomes a living part of our daily lives. So that our communities, our creativity, our Cymraeg, our language have a place on screen. Not at the margins, but centre stage. Because diversity of voice can't just be about surface-level inclusion. It's not about ticking boxes. It's about whose voices shape our understanding of the world, about which stories get funded, developed, and seen. Too often, the UK's creative industries are still viewed through a narrow, centralised lens. And still today, if you're not in London, or don't sound like you are, like me, it can feel like the door is only half open. And we have to change that. Because Wales has extraordinary stories to tell, and they're not just history or folklore. They're vibrant, modern, complex and evolving, just like our audiences. At S4C, we're proud of the stories we tell. From historic sporting moments like this summer's Women's Euros in Switzerland, to standout drama like Cleddau, Bariau, AFAN, and now a Golau, Dŵr. From bold digital content like our first vertical TikTok drama, Yr Alwad, to our children's programmes that educate and entertain our youngest Welsh speakers and inspire their parents, to entertainment shows like A Llais, our very own The Voice, which gave people exactly that, a voice and an opportunity they thought they'd never get, and which resonated, yes, with the allegedly difficult-to-reach younger audiences. And to our digital news service and our current affairs that shine a light on issues that matter to our communities. These are stories with purpose and impact, rooted in place, made to be seen. But we're not standing still. Allwn ni ddim fforddio aros yn yr unfan. Last month, we launched our new 5-year strategy. It sets out how we'll continue to earn our place in people's lives as a modern public service broadcaster. That means expanding our audiences, reaching more people in more places with content that's compelling and relevant. It means putting digital first, because our audiences already have, meeting them where they are, and transforming how we commission, distribute, and connect. And it means working ar y cyd, in partnership, across the sector, across the nations and regions, and across industries. Because when Wales thrives, the rest of the UK benefits. But our ability to deliver that vision is under threat unless action is taken. Because if we want our public service broadcasters to survive, we need to do more than applaud their work. We need to protect their visibility. And that means one word: prominence. Prominence for Welsh content, prominence for the nations and regions, prominence on the digital platforms and interfaces that shape what people see or don't see every single day. Because no matter how good your content is, if people can't find it, they won't watch it. If Welsh content is hidden, 5 clicks deep, pushed down by algorithms, or outranked by American imports, we all lose. So my call is clear. To government, to Ofcom, tech platforms and partners. If we believe in a UK of many voices, not just one, if we believe the story of Wales matters, then we must deliver real enforceable prominence on digital platforms for the content that represents us all. And we must enable algorithmic discoverability of our public service content from YouTube to TikTok. Because the future of our language, our culture, and our industry depends on it. At S4C, we're ready to work with others. We're supporting our independent sector and working in partnership with the BBC, ITV, Channel 4, yes, and MG Alba, TG Cahar, and beyond. Because collaboration isn't optional, it's essential. Over the coming years, S4C will be backing bold ideas, growing digital content and talent, building new partnerships and opening doors for the next generation of Welsh storytellers. Because now is the time for it. Our industry is changing, audiences are changing. Yes, the world is changing. But the need for authentic, local, diverse storytelling, that's not going away. In fact, it's probably never been more important. Let's keep telling our stories, and let's make sure they are seen. Diolch yn fawr. Ac nawr mae'n bleser I fi, it's my pleasure to hand over to Felicity Evans, BBC Wales broadcaster, presenter and journalist, to chair the opening debate. Croeso, Felicity.
Thank you so much. Diolch yn fawr, Geraint. It was great to hear about all the work that S4C is doing, and you've given us a lot to touch upon, actually, in our opening debate, particularly in your comments around visibility and prominence for Wales and the other nations and regions in such a fast changing industry and an algorithmically driven, I'm not going to try and say that again, industry as well. Thank you so much for that. As Geraint said, my name is Felicity Evans. I'm going to be chairing our opening debate with a phenomenal panel. The question being, is TV broken and how we can fix it? And they're going to have some very good advice, I think, for indies and the workforce within the sector about how to adapt and adjust to what's changing. But before that debate, let's take a moment to hear from John McVeigh, OBE, Chief Executive of PACT, and he's going to lay out how he sees the current state of the industry. John, do join us. Thank you.
Thank you, Felicity. Yes, good morning, everyone. So, is TV broken? Well, some might say over many years it was always sort of broken and it always needed fixing and changing. This is not a new moment. Who am I? Well, I'm Chief Executive of PACT. I'm also a father to 3 20-year-olds. So I've watched them as digital natives in terms of their viewing habits, their interests, and every day they inform me about what an old fart I am. But that's okay, because I probably am. So, I think where I want to start is I've been 25 years at PACT. I will be exiting next year. But over that 25 years, what really strikes me is the sheer genius of independent producers. The resilience, the diversification, the entrepreneurship, and let's face it, the sheer chutzpah to get up every day and hear no more often than you hear yes. That's not going to change. Where you hear yes and how you hear yes is probably going to change. So last August, when I was in the Edinburgh TV Festival, I heard a lot of people saying to me, stay alive to 25. And I kept saying to everyone, what the hell does that mean? It's sort of banal. I said, and after a while, when the 10th or 12th person had said it to me, I said, what if 25 is worse? And then they said, oh, well, stay in the mix to 26. I don't think any of that really helps us. We are facing a fundamental change in our industry, in our audiences, and in the economics of our business. And I want to be really clear to a lot of those people who were saying stay alive to 25. When I said, so what if 25 is worse? They went, it can't be worse. We've been through this before. It'll all come back. No, it's not coming back. We have gone through a structural change, not a cyclical change. UK spend on British independent producers is lower now than it was in 2010. Non-UK commissions over that time, that's mostly from North America, have trebled to 1.7 billion. So indies generally have got on the plane and found work elsewhere, which is a good thing. The total number of UK-originated titles, that's per annum, is now lower than it was pre-pandemic. These are the realities of a changing business. License fees, as you probably know, are in decline. And international markets are also restructuring, where we used to be able to find quite a lot of co-production finance from North America. That has now dried up. So we are in a very significant economic change that's going on, and that impacts on the volume of the content that we can make for the UK. There's still money there, but it's not as much, and it's not being spread around as many shows as it was pre-pandemic. We are not unique. This is happening everywhere in all of the key markets. We are unique in the UK because we have terms of trade. We have IP ownership, which makes us very unique when we're compared with our competitors in other markets. Last year, because of the terms of trade and the deficits that indies have to raise in order to close the finance and shows, indies contributed over £600 million to PSB programming. So without your hard work and your IP, we wouldn't have the range of programming on UK television that we all currently enjoy. Indies are working very hard, shaking every tree, trying to find every penny to get their shows greenlit and get them made. And they'll continue to work really hard to do that. It's not about competence. It's not about creativity. It is about the economics that we face. We're interested in entering a very challenged UK and international market. Like Stay Alive to 25, it's structural, it's not cyclical. Audiences are migrating, and we'll hear more about that. In fact, it was just touched on by GERAINT earlier. Audiences are migrating and advertising is migrating. We have to take a serious and hard look at our domestic industries and ask ourselves a few critical questions. If we are to have a thriving, sustainable and successful UK industry in the future, we have to start talking about it now and not pretending it's all going to be sorted out by someone else in the future. To that end, we will be publishing later this year a comprehensive deep dive into the financing of all UK content. It will be called The Bigger Picture, and it will evidence the economics, the stresses and strains across all genres, not just drama, not just scripted, all genres, children's, comedy, unscripted. This, I hope, will be the start of a wider debate in our industry about how we can afford all of the programmes our viewers and citizens want, and how we address some of the clear market failures that the research will highlight. So, TV isn't broken yet. We still have time to talk about how can we afford fantastic, high-quality British programmes for our audiences and citizens, but we need to be aware of the challenges that we face and actually start to engage in some of the solutions that our policymakers, our regulators, our broadcasters need to think about if we're still going to have a thriving industry in the future. Thank you very much.